4, sometimes 5 times a week. Just shooting the breeze, talking about our business, and just having fun. So, without any further ado, I would like to introduce my brother Joseph Ladden, one of the best trainers here at 7K. You're going to get some golden nuggets on how to grow your business. Joe, take it away, my friend.
Hey, thanks, brother. I appreciate that introduction. And don't forget, we get to travel together now. We do the 7K getaways, things like that. It is so much fun being part of 7K with you. And I really appreciate you bringing me into this. You were the guy that shared this with me. And I'm going to ask that question of people here in just a few minutes. But let me share my screen. You know I always have slides for you. And so I'm going to share my screen here. And we're going to talk about more than money, right? 7K, we talk about money, we talk about gold, but we want to talk about the 7K lifestyle too. All right. And so I'm going to promise you in this presentation, you're not going to learn anything new. Okay. But what we're going to do is we're going to kind of refresh what really creates this 7K lifestyle. All right. So the world's changed. We can look back to 2010 versus now 2025. In 2010, it was all about your resume, right? It was all about having a job. It was having, we had just banks. We didn't have this whole crypto world, bosses, paychecks. And now it's all changed, right? AI is the big thing. This last year, AI has exploded, right? Side hustles, the ability to create more income, because right now a job is just not enough to carry us through to pay the bills at the end of the month, right? So we got this crypto, we've got this whole community thing going on. When we look at Facebook and we look at Instagram, TikTok, right? It's about building communities and really being autonomous, okay? So 2010, your worth was tied to your resume. 2025, it's tied to your relationships. And the relationships are what grows, right? So how many of you guys here have made money because of relationship and not the job, right? This is something we all we've all done, especially lately, right? And my relationship with my brother is how I've been able to make money in 7K, create a lifestyle that I didn't have before, right? So when we look at the rise of the relationships, cold calls, right? Cold ads, this is old school, right? Your referrals, this is still, you're building trust, but it's not like when we get to this other end of the scale where we have things like NFTs and tribe brands. And tribe brand is simply what we do here at 7K, right? We're a whole group all committed to one main goal, okay? And with NFTs, it's the same. You've got arts and collectibles, if you're not familiar with NFTs, but it's just, we see it in all these different areas. And the fourth one on here is really important. Real property, things like gold, physical items, right? So as we see this change, we see this trust to get to the financial value, right? Trust moves faster than transactions. I have a lot of faith in my brother. I had looked at gold before, but I didn't know who to buy it from. I didn't know who to trust, right? Most places had minimum orders, and at that time, it was like a minimum order of $2,000. Well, I wasn't sending $2,000 to anybody in the hopes that I was getting gold in return, because I wouldn't even have known if it was real gold if I got it, right? That's how little I knew about gold and silver in the beginning. So people buy people, not ads. The biggest brands in the world are now personal brands, okay? We look at people like Mr. Beast. This guy's built $1 billion industry off of just his face and just himself, right? So 7K members, we build influence the same way through credibility, education, and connection, right? So the deeper the connection with the person, right? With my brother, obviously we're pretty close. I've known him all my life. He's known me almost all of his life. So the connection is so important. So how many of you people join 7K because you were introduced by somebody that you trust, right? How important is this, right? Type a 1 in the chat if this, if you fit into that, right? We joined 7K, and think about this now when you put this towards the next person, right? When you're trying to bring somebody in 7K, what do you think is going to be the most important thing? And that's going to be their trust in you, okay? So here's what we have with 7K, and this is so important, right? We're saving in real money, all right? Here's our value proposition, okay? 7K gives everyday people a simple way to exchange their declining dollar, right? We see the dollar keeps going down. I watch this on a daily basis in my trading, and it's something that we've known has been happening. We talked about it after the crash in 2008. Now, instead of watching your savings lose dollars, right, with gold and silver, we're actually watching it gain, right? When I joined 7K in the beginning, I got my first piece of gold, and I really felt it, right? When you pick up a piece of gold or you pick up a piece of silver and you actually hold it in your hands, you're holding a tangible asset. You're holding your savings in your hand. Nobody can take it away from you, right? So you're building wealth that stands the test of time. Now, what else do we have with 7K? Well, we've got an autosaver program, okay? And in the beginning, I didn't really understand the autosaver program. I got those MS-70 Silver Eagles right from the beginning. I got them every single month. And now that I completely understand this world of MS-70s and the graded coins, this is something we've got to help other people to understand, because we've seen coins, like I collect the egg coins, right? I get the Tom Holdman ones, but I also get the Fabergé egg ones as well, and I love that collection, right? So these habits of getting coins every month, participating in the coin drops every month, what's that translate to? Well, now I have a collection. You saw my brother's collection a couple years ago, right? I've got a good sized collection, not as big as his, but it's, I'm getting there. But this collection has grown into something now that I never even imagined, okay? So over time, we compound in these assets. You're compounding your real assets. This value, your vault, it grows over time, right? So this is something, we've got to be excited about that autosaver. Whether, I love the gold notes, okay? If you've been to the events, you've probably met Tom and Gail. They're amazing people. His artwork is, for me, it's just amazing. I love his artwork. It's something where I've never really been an art person, but to be able to sit and go through these gold notes and use the app where it actually, shows you in 3D, things like this, it's just amazing technology. And it's gonna, the value's just gonna continue to grow over time, right? So this autosaver, if you bring that to the people, right? When you talk about that autosaver, use your own story. My story is I started collecting these one at a time every month. Now I actually get 3 different autosavers. You heard my brother actually gets all 4 of the different autosavers, right? That's because over time we see what that value is. So we've got to really find that way to connect with our people and show them the value in that autosaver. So we've got global buying, right? How many countries are we in now? 77, right? We keep expanding, and we're part of this global network. And when you think about things like energy, right? And I love, to talk about energy, the energy of the universe, the energy that's with every atom there is. Well, when you think about it, we have right now, 24 people on this Zoom. We all have our energy focused in one place, and that is, how can we grow our 7K Metals business, right? Well, we're part of a global effort, all doing the same thing. These meetings, our Zoom meeting isn't unique. There's Zoom meetings going on all over the world right now, right? And this is where we take this global buying power. We've got access, at these dealer direct prices to different things that go along with our membership, right? So whether you're even the casual collector, which, like for me, I didn't know anything about collecting, to the serious investor, our membership has access all over the world, okay? So this is important. We get the same, and this is another one, the bottom line here. We get the same prices as the big players get, right? It doesn't matter whether you could buy $1 million worth of gold or $100 worth of gold. We all get the same price in that sound money wallet, okay? So the sound money wallet is the next thing I want to talk about. We've got to be excited about this, because for me, this is right now the main selling point when it comes to gold and silver, because our economy has shifted. Remember, we talked about it in 2010. We looked at banks. Now everything's being held in digital wallets, right? And the digital wallet backed by real physical gold just makes sense today, especially where we see gold and silver prices going. And this gives us the instant access that we need fully back. It's, they've got the regular auditing of the vault. I mean, it's super secure storage. These guys created this vault, and other companies have wanted to buy the technology from them, right? So we instantly convert our cash into gold and silver. We do it right here from our phones, right? We don't have to, go to a gold dealer or a gold broker and actually get metal, bring it home. There's just so much to it when you do it that way. With the Sound Money wallet, it brings us into 2025. It's today's economy right here in the palm of our hands, and we can get real commodity, which is physical gold and physical silver. And then if we need our cash, guess what? We convert it right back. And if this, if our cash fails, if this, currency that we're currently using fails, guarantee you gold and silver is going to convert right into the next currency, whether it's a digital currency or another paper currency that you're using, right? So gold and silver is the way you want to hold your money. And we've seen the trading that that Yuri's done, where we talk about you've got your checking account, you've got your savings account. You need a gold and silver account as well, right? And that's global, everywhere you go, right? I just went to Romania. We talked to a lot of people about gold and silver there. They love the idea that you can hold it in a wallet and not have to have it.
Yeah, it's good about Bitcoin and gold and silver too. I have some Bitcoin also.
Things that go along with that. So
Hi.
be excited about our Sound Money wallet. We've got to share with people the importance of this. And for people that are on a lower budget, they can get started for just $149. Get instant access to this wallet where they can start putting $20 a month even into the wallet. They can start sharing 7K with other people and earning income that goes right in there as well. Okay, so the rare and collectible coins, I showed you the egg coin. We've been pretty blessed over this
And
9 years, I
Ethereum.
think. We've got coins that 7K designed and minted. Our 50 State Animal Series, that's an amazing set, right? All the Miles Standish coins.
Hi,
Okay?
Kiva
You put
Liva.
those collections together, and
Hi,
you look at all
everyone.
the different coins that he's created, right down to the last pitch coin, right? The first pitch coin is actually what it's called, but the last coin that he created, where it's just the way that they've grown in value. We've seen, different coins that were purchased and have gone up. I mean, they've gone up anywhere from $5 to $5,000, right? We've seen coins like the Black Panther coin and ones like those. Just amazing what they do, and the rarity. Some of them, when we look at the Julius Caesar set, there's only 500 of each coin, right? So if you've got a full set, and those were some intense coin drops too. Those coins sold out fast. That was back before they had the system perfected. There was a little bit of instability when you went to purchase your coins in coin drops, but they've got all that worked out, and it's flawless now. But those coin drops for the Julius Caesar coins, when we bought those, we never expected they were going to double and triple in price overnight. Okay, we had people offering, when we bought the different coins at 7K events, right? Because they always had great coin drops at the 7K events. We've had people that literally offered us double the price of the coin because they missed the coin drop, right? So it creates an emotional excitement and a financial excitement when you get these coins, when you see the detail on these coins, and then to see that the silver price keeps climbing, the gold price keeps climbing, right? That's going to add more value to the already, that MS70 value that's there. Okay. The next one is community and networking power. We talked about this with the energy. We bring all this energy into one place. Okay, we've got a global movement of people passionate about financial freedom, about personal growth, and about sound money. Right? So we do our live events, our Zooms, our local meetups, and we build lifelong friendships in communities. I love you guys. I love all you guys. Sally, Mary, Tony, Amy, Joe, my brother, I've got to know you guys, and you guys are like family to me. This is so, it's not something I expected when I joined a $250 membership at the time, right? So we're part of this community. We're part of a growing network of people, all with the same mission, okay? We've got our member rewards, okay? When you refer people to 7K 7K is going to pay you for that. And this is important because without us, 7K doesn't grow. 7K doesn't exist. They need us to get out there and share the mission of 7K with other people in order for them to be successful, right? So 7K success is 100% dependent on all, 24 of us here in this room right now to go out and share this message, to show people the same. I mean, when we hold a silver eagle in our hands, I remember when I first bought silver eagles and they were like $17, each. Now they're over 40, or well, no, they're over $50 now. Silver closed at $50 an ounce yesterday. Okay, so we're going to earn through referrals. We're going to earn through the share plan, through the instant gold pay, through the matching bonus. That's incredible, because even if you aren't super successful in networking, okay, let's say you only bring in 2 or 3 people, it only takes one of those people to put a couple $100,000 in your sound money wallet, and all of a sudden you've got a nice little chunk of gold in your sound money wallet, right? As a bonus. It doesn't come out as a commission. It's not paid by the person that put money in their sound money wallet. This is really important, right? A lot of places pay commission on your gold and silver, so that actually comes out of somebody's profit somewhere along the way. 7K is actually taking that on. So we've got the rewards of being able to share this with other people. We talk about it all the time. When you refer your local pizza shop, they're not giving you free pizza to do that, okay? So it rewards education, community, and impact rather than that traditional sales pressure. All right, now, financial and historical education. The 7K Pro, I don't know if you guys have been in there. I actually get the 7K Pro every month. And it's, you've got your buyer's course and collector's training, but there's a whole bunch of training in there, on financial mastery, all the different things that go along with gold and silver, but also, paying down your debt, paying off your mortgage, all these different things in the financial world that help us save even just a few dollars every year. So it's not just about gold and silver, it's what it teaches us, right? I did not know what a silver eagle was when my brother introduced me to 7K, okay? Now, not only do I know what silver eagles are, I know the history of them. I mean, the whole, just everything about them, I have that knowledge, okay? I would know if I go into a pawn shop or a gold broker or someplace, if I'm getting a good deal on my gold and silver or not, right? Because of the education that they give us. We've also learned the history of our monetary system, how the Fed was created. We've had amazing speakers, G. Edward Griffin, Miles himself, he's done talks, right? They had so much history to share with us about our financial, system and how it works, how we got to where we are here today in 2025. Okay, so the next one is legacy building. Okay, we have, every coin that we have tells a story, whether it's the silver eagle, right? We've got this is the Poland Beauty of the World coin, right? This is the latest one that I got in my Smart Select, right? Every silver eagle, MS-70, every single coin tells a story, and these stories get passed on. I don't know about you guys, but I hear a lot of stories about people that inherited coins, but they didn't know what to do with them, right? My kids are going to know exactly what to do with them, okay? Not only am I, telling them, but also with all my collection, I include in there a little, note that talks about the coin, gives a little story behind it. So this way, when somebody opens up that box, they're going to know what the Miles Standish coin is. They're going to know who Miles Standish was, right? So these are going to be passed on through generations, okay? So you're building a tangible legacy that your family can hold, admire, benefit from. Unlike digital investments, we've seen how, Bitcoin was over 120, now it's at 111, right? It's gonna fluctuate. You're not just saving money, you're preserving history and creating generational wealth. And when we say creating history, we're watching history be created with these gold notes right now. As we saw the threads of light notes go through, that's a building being built. People are going to walk through that building. I'm going to estimate no less than 100,000 people a year are going to go through and see the actual glass panes that those notes were made from, right? So we're building a legacy. It's going to carry on for generations. our kids and their grandkids are going to be able to go to Utah and go through that building and see the actual glass panes that these gold notes that they have, are made from. So our mission's bigger than money right now. Our mission is to share 7K. It's about freedom. It's about time freedom. I know for me, I had two businesses, okay? I did not have time freedom. I could never take more than a week off as far as vacation. 7K gives us this freedom. It gives us that ability to get out of debt, to live, and dream, right? Virginia and I are putting together our trips for next year. We've already got the 7K cruise schedule. We're already scheduled. We've got our rooms booked for the 7K event in March, right? The 7K International. So we're putting together another trip to Romania at the end of next summer. Instead of 3 weeks, we're going to take 4 weeks, right? Because 7K has given us the ability to do that. We don't have those other businesses now because of what we were able to do here with 7K. And if I can help even one more person be able to do the same thing that I've been able to do, I'm going to share this with as many people as it takes to get to that one person, okay? We take control of our finances, right? Each member becomes part of this global shift towards empowerment and towards independence, okay? So the other thing I want to talk about is the 7K advantage. I mentioned this. My brother and I get to go on trips together. We have a lot of fun with these too. We went we went riding dune buggies in the Dominican Republic. We did, so many different things. We did cruises, the Cancun getaways, right? Plus we see each other at these 7K international events as well. So, the 7K Advantage program, all right, you've got to be taking advantage of that. And you've got to share with people. Like we went to Romania, we didn't rent a car from the airport. We got a deal at where Virginia's mom lived. And, when I got home, I thought, well, let me check 7K. And certainly we would have got a much better deal if we used 7K Advantage. I can tell you, we would save $250 off of the $300 we spent. I mean, $300 is still a great deal for a rental car for 3 weeks, but it would only been $50 for the 3 weeks through the 7K Advantage. And I've seen this before. We went to Cancun, we rented a car for 5 days. It cost us a total of $56. Okay, so the same with hotels. When we had the 7K event in the Paris in Las Vegas, we got our rooms. I think it was like $49 a night through 7K Advantage. It was lower than what the 7K price was. Okay, so take advantage of these deals. There's so much in there, even local savings, local shops, restaurants, things like this. So this is the financial freedom that I love, being able to do these getaways every single year. And these are things that we didn't typically do, right? So 7K gives us this advantage. And we've got to create this story. Tell your story to as many people as you can, right? Because the time is now. You have to be the movement. If 7K is going to grow, it's because we're going to grow individually, right? We've got to show people the value, right, on how they can create freedom, how they can create financial independence. Each member is a vital piece of this global effort to restore integrity to money and ownership. This is huge. And we have that power here with 7K, all right? So together, we are the movement that changes lives. This is the 7K mission. We're here just to share the mission with other people. We're here to tell our stories about what the 7K mission has done for us, right? To put gold and silver in the hands of the people that need it the most. Because I'm going to tell you guys, in 2017, when my brother came to me and shared with me 7K, I needed it. I really did. I was getting worn out. I was 20 years in that pest control business, working in this summer heat here in Phoenix every single year. And I didn't complain about it. I went out, I did my job, but I'm glad it's done. I really am, right? My wife was doing the same thing with assisted living home business. Because we had trouble getting good caregivers, things like this, she was tied to that business. And now, not anymore, okay? She's free to do, whatever work she wants. If she wants to work, she doesn't even have to if she doesn't want to. We're able to go on vacations. We're talking about spending a whole month in Romania next summer instead of just 3 weeks, right? right? So this is what 7K can do for you. This is what 7K can do for other people. So, folks, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I really appreciate you taking a few minutes to listen. Like I said, you're not going to learn anything new in that presentation. This is all stuff you've seen. It's all stuff we've heard. But I think it's important for us to really take this message and get out there and share it with other people, right? Bring the energy together so that, you know, we're not just 77 countries, we're 150 countries, right? And we have the chance, because we're so new in these countries, that we can grow internationally, right? I've got a team started in Romania. I've got a team started in England. I've got a team started in Canada. I never imagined that when I joined 7K. And when I joined 7K, my networking experience, I had signed up one person, right? And that was my dad. I couldn't even get my brother to sign up in my networking company, right? And this is, you know, it's completely different. I've signed up at least 50 people here in 7K, and I've learned from people like Tony Hubbard. I mean, we're so blessed, right? I love Tony. Tony has been there since day one, right? The first presentation I listened to was Tony's midday call, and he's been there for me since day one as a mentor, as a friend. He's on these vacations with us too, just hanging out, doing the things, hanging by the pool, you know, whatever. There's so much we do on these trips, but the idea that, you know, because I trusted my brother, I met Tony, right? And because of Tony's network, right, I've met people that I never dreamed I'd meet in my life, and it's all been good, right? You guys are my 7K family. I love you guys, and I'm going to turn the time back over to my brother. Oh, I'm going to turn the time back over to Mr. Tony Hubbard. Nope, my brother. One of you guys.
Either way, I'm good.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, Joe, man, fantastic training. I love the fact that we can work together. Your training is always outstanding. Appreciate you. Appreciate all that you do for 7K. You know, you talk about organizations. You talk about growing a business. You know, and you talked about Tony. Tony's he's the champion. He's the mentor. He's the guy that we have learned from, taken our cues from. And you know, he said something a few weeks ago. And you know, my organization is not thousands and thousands of people, but he said that we touch thousands and thousands of people's lives because of what we do here. We interact with people. You know, I've done presentations for people that are not directly in line with me, and they're not part of my organization. And you know, just a few years ago, we met Thurl Bailey, you know, big NBA star, right? He came and he sang at one of our conventions, and I actually met Thurl many years ago because of the person that actually sponsored me and brought me into 7K. And then I shared a 7K presentation with him. He joined, obviously he joined in a different organization. He wasn't there for me, but I did it on behalf of someone else. And so it's just amazing the relationships that Joe talked about, how they grow and cultivate. And so now I have the privilege of introducing the champion, the person that we've been talking about, Mr. Tony Hubbard. Mr. Tony Hubbard comes from Houston, Texas. He is the number one sponsor / recruiter in this entire organization of 7K. Well over 500 individuals personally. He has been our mentor, like Joe had mentioned. He's been our mentor since the beginning, because my sponsor, you know, even though he knew Thurl Bailey, he stepped away from 7K, and I kept growing, and I needed a mentor. And so Joe and I both have latched on to Tony Hubbard because he is the expert. He knows networking inside and out. He's been a 6-figure earner both inside and outside of network marketing. But he has over 20 years experience in the network marketing space. And so this is the contrast that Joe and I have. You know, Joe's been self-employed all his life. He's just worked his own business, his own thing. Me, I work for the government the majority of my life. Well, Tony, he's been an entrepreneur and done networking the majority of his life. And so you get to see the contrast from the 3 different areas. And so Tony is a fantastic leader, teacher, mentor. He's an incredible friend. He's one of my very best friends. and he's an executive gold associate. I mean, he's bringing in bank. He's bringing in bank just because of his skills. So, folks, you can learn from this individual on how to grow a network marketing business. Mr. Tony Hubbard, take it away, my friend.
All right, Mr. Chris Ladd, man, it's always a pleasure, man, to get a chance to speak on the platform, and not only yourself, but your brother as well. And I can truthfully say it's been an amazing journey over the last 8.5 years, man. You know, I remember when we first met in person for the first time. It was back in July of 2017 when we had actually the first official launch of 7K. I mean, the company started in November the 5th, 2016. And then they had several contests. The way the co-founders have always run their business, they do like a pre-launch, and then they do an official launch where we're basically letting the whole world know we're open for business. And that typically takes 6 to 8 months later. And I remember meeting Chris and Joseph at that, but Chris first because they had 2 contests in the first 8 months of the company's existence. I was fortunate to finish top 10 for both contests, and Chris also finished top 10 on the last contest that we had. And part of that reward was we got a chance to come in a day earlier, and the company took care of our hotels. Roger Ball, the billionaire, at that time he owned like 53 different hotels, 7 of which were there in Idaho Falls. And so we got a chance to stay at the hotel, and then we actually got a chance to meet and have a special dinner at one of Roger Ball's at the time. He had 14 different homes. So we got a chance to spend an evening at his largest home that's there in Idaho Falls, which is like 8,500 square feet on 20 acres. I mean, it was an amazing place. I mean, it looked like something that you would see in home and gardens. It had big boulders in the backyard on the landscape, I mean, it was just amazing, And so, but I remember at that event, and just to let you ladies should be definitely encouraged, because at that event, of that last contest before that event, the top 10, myself and Chris were the only 2 guys that finished in that top 10. All the rest of them were ladies. And in the beginning, I would say the first 2 years of the company, females dominated in 7K. I mean, I would say 70% of the top leaders were female at that time. And so, but I remember there, and that's when Chris, I didn't know at the time that he had, that his sponsor had stepped away for a reason, a valid reason. And so he asked me would I mentor him. He said he never had a mentor in this space, and I consider it a privilege to do so. So definitely it's been an amazing journey. And he talks about me being an excellent friend. I mean, I've had a lot of friends over the years and stuff, but definitely Chris is top 10 of the people that I could call a friend, during that time, because we went through a lot of things together, ladies and gentlemen. So the last 8.5, nearly 9 years has been an amazing journey. Not only with Chris, but Mr. Joseph Ladd. Matter of fact, do me a favor, put a 3 in the chat if you love the value that Mr. Joseph Ladd just shared with us about what it is we have our hands on. I think it's very important from time to time for us to realize the value of what we have, And I believe that once we really realize what we have, I think a lot of us, our business will grow accordingly. I think, when you realize, that you have a miracle in your mouth, when you have the opportunity of 7K, when you have the most unique way on the planet to be able to help everyday people to be able to acquire gold and silver based upon what they can afford. Because here's the truth of the matter, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to talk about trust today. But here's the truth of the matter. The average person, when you mention gold and silver, they check out. In their mind, it is a rich man's game and a game of kings. That's it. And the co-founders of 7K, these gentlemen have cracked the code. They've made owning gold and silver affordable to everyday people like you and I. How were they able to do it? This sound money wallet, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we thought it was amazing just with the membership model, which I was familiar with my first gold and silver company. But then when they created that sound money wallet, Bill Gates put it like this. He said one of the fastest ways to create wealth is to find out what the world wants to do and get there first. I want you guys to write that down. He said one of the fastest ways to create wealth is to find out what the world wants to do and then get there first. When 7K Metals created that sound money wallet, it was not one of a dozen. It was not one of 100. It was the first of its kind anywhere in the world, ladies and gentlemen. And to this day, there's been many people that tried to duplicate it, but it's never been duplicated because, again, the way they created, hats off to Anthony, who's the tech guy at 7K. I mean, this guy grew up on Silicon Valley, and when the co-founders told him what they were looking for, this guy went out there and created it, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to understand the power of it and to understand the value of what we have with that sound money wallet. This system is so powerful, ladies and gentlemen. When other multi-billion-dollar companies saw it, Josh Anderson told me personally, there have been two companies, American Express and Visa, have both offered the company over $2 billion to have exclusive rights to that system. Now keep in mind, I would venture to say 99% of owners of network marketing companies would have taken that deal in a heartbeat. I mean, think about it. $2 billion, you're talking about some serious generational wealth. I mean, you're talking about, you could just retire and just live on the beaches of the world for the rest of your life. But I have so much respect for the co-founders of this company because, again, I would say 99% of owners of network marketing companies, a lot of them start companies so they can sell it off or find a better way to just, irregardless of the lifestyle that would change or affect as far as the distributor is concerned. But these guys turned down two multi-billion-dollar offers for them to buy that system. I want you guys to understand, if they would have bought the rights to that system, we would no longer have access to it. And the only way for us to have access to it again was to pay some kind of fee through American Express or through Visa. I want you to understand how powerful it is. Some of the largest gold dealers on the planet that are multi-billion, that are part of the 11, that are direct to the mint. I'm talking AppMex and JM Bullion also tried to duplicate this system, put their own in place. But, always tried to be imitated, but it's never been duplicated, ladies and gentlemen. That system is literally second to none. I want you to understand that. And the fact that not only you have access to it, but that should be one of the major reasons why. You should talk to people on a daily, if not bare minimum on a weekly basis about just having access to that wallet. If you don't do nothing else, get an account. Just like you open up a checking account, just like you open up a savings account that's based upon fiat, you need to have a sound money account. I think one of the best messages I ever heard recently, because of what we have and stuff, was what Yuri Melendez said. And that's why they're adding hundreds of people a month to their business, because the message is very, very simple. You heard Chris tell us today. The message is very simple. If you have a checking account, if you have a savings account, why do you have a savings account? So you can save money. If you understand what inflation does to fiat currency, you'd be desperate trying to find some other way to save. That's why I used to marvel for years. Why in the world did Robert Kiyosaki used to oftentimes tell people in financial training that savers are losers? The reason why he said that is because he knew if you save in a checking account, if you save in a savings account, if you had a 401k mutual fund, all of those are backed on fiat currency. Think about it. They're backed up on what the purpose, the dollar is supposed to do. So that's why he would say savers are losers, because there is a silent tax called inflation, ladies and gentlemen. And the real number, the government does not want you to know the real numbers on it. Because the real numbers are closer to 10%, not 4% what you hear. It's closer to 10%. And if I'm not getting that kind of interest, that means every single week, month, year, by just leaving it in there, I don't care what that 0.001, whatever they're supposed to be paying me, I am losing money. And they are making money off of what I have in that account. You got to understand that. And once you recognize that you have the antidote for what has been stinging the world, what has been making the world sick. You have the antidote in 7K Melons. I mean, you should tell everybody you know. Hey, you need to have an account. I don't care if you build a big team or not. You should have an account and save in gold and silver. And then share your own personal story. Look at what gold has done since the beginning of the year. Look at what silver has done since the beginning of the year. You don't have to go back 5 years. You don't have to go back 10 years. Let's just talk about since January. If you'd have put $1,000 in that, would it be worth today? I mean, you're talking about, gold went up over $1,000 since the beginning of the year. So, again, we've got to understand, we literally, every last one of you on here this call today, you literally have a miracle in your mouth. Now you just got to share your story. And one of the things I found to be true in network marketing, because people always ask, what's the answer? You know, what's the secret? You know, how do I build a team of thousands? How do I build a team? I mean, my team is the largest in the company, and I'm not going to give you the exact numbers, but just know it's north of 50,000, well north of 50,000 people. And when I pull up my report, they show up on there. And the key thing to it, in network marketing, you don't have to be great. All you need is a story. I want you to write that down. You don't have to be great. What you need is a story. All right? And let's talk about, again, we're going to talk about trust, but what I mean by a story. Favorite authors, one of my favorite mentors, he's one of the greatest thought leaders of this generation. It's a gentleman by the name of Simon Sinek. Simonsinek, Simon Sinek. And he wrote the book, Start With Why. Okay? Start With Why. In that book, and the first time I heard him is when I went to one of Eric Worre's, back in 2013, I went to one of Eric Worre's GoPro Recruiting Mastery. When I was making a lot of money in my first gold and silver company, I had gotten up to at that time, about $30,000 a month. And I took a team of 30 individuals that were on my team and the co-founder and the owner of the company. We went out to Vegas for 4 days to learn from people that were making $1 million a year plus in the network marketing business. And Simon Sinek was one of the speakers on that stage. And he said something I'll never forget. He said, if you want the people that know, like, and trust you to do business with you, he said, here's how you do it. He said, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. I want you to write that down. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. If you want more people in your inner circle, people that trust you. Stephen Covey wrote a book years ago, and I actually got to replace my copy of it because I lost it in Hurricane Ike back in 2008. But he wrote a book, and I purchased it called The Speed of Trust. The Speed of Trust. And he got to talk about that what causes business, and it can be quantifiable. What causes business to move fast or slow is how much trust is in the business and with the employees and with the company as a whole. If they trust you, people will be more productive, your business will grow faster, the whole 9 yards. That same thing happens in network marketing. If you're a person of integrity and character, you're always upfront, you tell your people the truth whether they like it or not, your business will grow faster because they trust you. Okay? And he gives an example of how trust can be measured and how when trust is broken, it stops the flow of a business. And his example that he gives in the book, ladies and gentlemen, was travel through the airport prior to 911. Okay? Travel through the airport prior to 911. He said he remembered, because he flew a lot. He remembered going up to the airport and getting there 20 minutes before the plane took off and was able to get on the plane. He remembered getting to the airport 30 minutes before the plane had even taken off, going in there, checking in bags, and still being able to get on the plane. But write it down in the chat. I want to make sure you guys pay attention. Put in the chat, after 911, How early did the airports tell you you had to be there in order to make your flight? Put it in the chat. For those you remember. Okay? So the last 2 hours, anybody else? 90 minutes, don't press it 2 hours. The day up there in New York, they said 3 hours. The number was actually 2 hours, that's correct. Prior to 911, people could go to the airport, you get there 30 minutes early, you get there an hour early, you getting on that flight. But when 911 happened, all the airports in the United States, and I don't know what they were worldwide, they told you whether you're on a domestic flight or an international flight, you got to be here 2 hours early if you plan on getting on that plane. 2 hours, okay? And the reason why that slowed down every airport on the planet, because the trust had been broken, okay? So trust could be measured because it was broken, and what was very productive in all these airports, everything got slowed down by 2 hours, okay? And so I said all that to say this, so that if you're a leader of integrity and character, people will follow you, okay? And when it comes to your recruiting, let's talk about strictly your warm market today. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So people say, well, Tony, okay, how does that apply to my 7K method business? A lot of times people ask me, okay, what's the best script to use? What's the best line to use? And the bottom line, if you were to see me recruiting in warm market, even in cold market, but I would say more so in cold market, I focus on, I'm a relationship guy, and I focus on building a rapport. Because the first book I ever read in network marketing was Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. And here's the gist of the book. He said people do business with people that they like. If they know, like, and trust you, they're gonna do business with you. Now Tony Robbins took it one step further. He said people do business with people that they know, like, trust, and like to be like. So that's why it's so important for you to have a certain level of success. Okay? Because when you say I'm a silver associate, I'm a gold associate, I'm executive gold, I'm presidential gold, there are people that want to do business with you just because of that. I've seen from the company, I've seen people in the company. The company has, and we were instrumental in helping that come into play. The company had what is called they have what is called an orphan system. Okay? For those who may not know, and that's some of you that are on here that have been recipients of it. I had a hand to do with it in the first 2 years when they put it in place. The orphan system is based upon this. There are people that will just look for online for gold and silver businesses. And they'll find out about 7K and they recognize they can't just go to the site and sign up, they need a sponsor. So they will call into the company. But if they are a networker, if they've built teams before, there are people that will call into the company. I've gotten several of these leads. Chris has gotten some, Joseph, Sally Mary has gotten some. But they're calling there looking for somebody in particular. But I've gotten several of these because they'll say, hey, I need someone in Texas that is a big builder, okay, that has built a large team. And so they want to do business with me, although they didn't know who I was, okay? So people do business with people that they know, like, trust, and like to be like, okay? And so I've gotten some of those leads, but here's the thing. For the people that are in your warm market, and this is something you can go back and start today, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care if you messed it up in the beginning. I don't care if you've been here a year already and say, okay, well, I already burnt that bridge. I don't believe you have. I don't care if you've been in this 2 years, 3 years, 5, 9, like myself. I don't believe if you're a person with integrity and character, you are never in what is called the NFL club, which stands for no friends left. I just don't believe that, okay? If you're a person with integrity and character and you help them make any money at all, I believe there will always be people that want to do business with you. But in order to get those people to do business with me, just talk about why you joined the company. Okay? What was the reason why you joined? You've heard Chris's testimony many times. You've heard Joseph Lattin's testimony many times. You've heard Sally Mary's. You've heard Joe Preston. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And some of you that are on here today, you have, well, let me change it. All of you that are on here, you have an amazing story. You just got to learn how to tell it. You have an amazing, and you'll be amazed at how many other people would join you in your business if you just get good at telling your story. Okay? So what do I mean by that? Like, because I've done meetings in over 100 different cities in the last 9 years of 7K, I've done meetings in well over 100 different cities. I'm talking home meetings, I'm talking one-on-ones, I'm talking restaurant meetings, I'm talking hotel meetings, I'm talking bowling alley meetings. We've done meetings in just about any kind of venue you can think about. Okay? So I've done meetings in over 100 different cities. So that means I've met tens of thousands of people in 7K in the last 9 years. And I love to hear people's stories. You know, I'm a people watcher. When I go to the airport, I watch people. So I love hearing people's stories. And so I've heard hundreds of amazing stories. And if you just get good at telling that story, you'll be amazed at how many of your family members and friends will want to join you if they know your story. Here's one that's very impactful that I've heard numbers of times since I've been in Southern California. I've heard from people, their story is this. You know, I've never really worked a 9 to 5. I've been an entrepreneur most of my life. So the reason why I joined 7K Metals, because I don't have a 401k, I don't have a mutual fund, I don't have a pension plan. So the reason why I joined, because 7K is my mutual fund, 7K is my pension plan, 7K is my retirement plan. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So get good at telling your story. Joseph Lattin been an entrepreneur most of his life. I don't know if he ever worked a 9 to 5. Okay? So what that tells me, he's not living off of a 401k. He's not living off of a pension plan. So this is his 401k. I mean, what he's been able to put aside in metals, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, it rivals what most people that work 20, 30, 40 years in corporate America. So get good at telling your story. I mean, I've heard many housewives that say, hey, listen, my husband does something. And my husband doesn't like what he's doing. And so the reason why I joined, because I wanted to make enough money so that my husband could possibly come home. I've heard husbands say, you know what, my wife doesn't like the kind of job she's doing. So the reason why I joined 7K so I can leverage my time, create another stream of revenue, so my wife can come home and spend more time with her family. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So just get good at telling your story. Okay? And what's an effective story in network marketing? In 7K Metals. An effective story covers 3 things: past, present, and future. Past, what did you do prior to getting started? Then, what triggered you to get involved? Where are you now? And then where do you see yourself going? You know, you heard Chris talk about how much he buys on a monthly basis. And we all marvel at it. We see the picture of what he's been able to accumulate over the last several years. Okay? I mean, arguably the largest collection in the company, because not only does he buy, but he put 2/3 of what he earned from building a team also right back in the metal. One of the wisest decisions I've ever heard. Okay, and because of that, ladies and gentlemen, he's been able to put into some assets, and guess what? They're still increasing. You know, what he put into it is worth way more than what he actually put into it. So he has that testimony, but that he has a retirement that he can do something with because of 7K. So I want you to know, each and every one of you guys, you have a story. If you don't know how to package your story, give me a phone call. And I'll show y'all, because you have an amazing story. And you'll be amazed at how many people that are already in the circle. And you might have already talked to them a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. That's found money, ladies and gentlemen. That's house money. I would go back to them. first say I would apologize. Hey, I know when I first got in 3 years ago, I was jacked up, I was jacked sideways, I might approach you wrong, I'm sorry, but I'm passionate about what it is I do and what it's done for me in my business. But I said, but your friendship means more to me. Our relationship is cousins. It means more to me than what we're doing in this business. But I'm passionate about it. But at any given time, if you're open to taking a look at it, I would love to share it with you. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do. You get good at telling your story. And if you are a person of integrity and character, each and every one of you that I know on here right now, I know that to be true. My promise to you is that success will not elude you. So that being said, I'm going to open up the floor now for Q&A. If you got any questions about anything I share, anything Mr. Joseph Latin shared, here's the time you want to raise your hand. I just got one of my favorite little hoodies. I saw it online. It said, I don't know if y'all seen these on here. It said, "You are enough." And then on the back of it, if you're standing in line somewhere, it said, the person in front of you, believe that you are enough, something to that nature. So just want to add value to people's lives. So anybody got any questions? Raise your hand or unmute. Put it in the chat. All right, Mr. Ladden, I guess you knocked everybody's socks off, my friend. All right. Appreciate you, superstar. It's a beautiful thing when you got supermodels in the midst. Susan Bradford was a model, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not just saying that.
Yep, I was too.
Anybody else? Questions, comments, add to, takeaways? Looking at the report this morning, there's several of you that are pretty close. The additional 250, 500, 1,000, couple thousand. So we're just.
Thank you for watching.
And I'll be available after this for 3-way calls, whatever the case may be. If you need someone, need a
I Crochet
presentation, let us know.
Panda.
But again, ladies and gentlemen, let's do this thing together.
Y'all have a good day,
And the old
evening,
saying
or
is
night,
that we do
depending
it
on
better
where you're
when we
watching
do it
from
together.
in the world.
The 7.
Oops, I didn't mean to close it. I meant to close this. Bye.